When people think of the fall of the Roman Empire, they usually imagine barbarian invasions, burning cities, or games of thrones. But empires don't fall only because of external attacks. The real and unstoppable collapse begins from within, and the strongest force that accelerates this decay is, as always, money. Rome didn't fall only because of wars. It fell because it destroyed its own currency, and the lessons from that collapse still matter today, because the same game is still being played, only the disguise has changed. For centuries, the backbone of the Roman economy was the silver denarius, first minted around 211 BC. This coin was almost pure silver. Soldiers received their salaries with it, merchants accepted payments in it, and citizens saved their wealth thanks to it. The denarius was not just a currency. It was trust in Rome turned into metal. The empire's power and the value of its money were inseparable. That's why the denarius was so valuable. As long as people believed in Rome, they believed in its money. But running an empire was neither cheap nor easy. Soldiers' wages, roads, aqueducts, wars, expenses increased, and taxes were no longer enough. And the emperors found an easy but deadly solution: debasement. Raising taxes would have provoked rebellion, but the decision was made, so Rome began to reduce the silver content in the denarius. The numbers tell the whole story. Under Augustus, the coin was 95% pure silver. Under Caracalla, this rate dropped to 50%. By the time of Gallienus, it had fallen below 5%. Those once shining silver coins were now bronze, covered only with a thin layer of silver coating. And the people felt this change both with their eyes and their pockets. Inflation exploded. The price of a measure of wheat multiplied several times over. Soldiers demanded raises and merchants began refusing to accept the coins. Barter became widespread again. The trust that was once the foundation of the Roman economy had completely vanished. Between 235 and 284 AD, Rome went through one of the darkest periods in its history. Rebellions, plagues, civil wars. Every emperor who took the throne was dead within months. But behind the scenes, the real crisis was financial. Taxes were collected in worthless coins, farmers abandoned their lands, and trade networks collapsed. The state was desperate. It imposed price caps, created forced labor systems, but nothing worked. In 301 AD, Emperor Diocletian issued the Edict on Maximum Prices, but it failed, because you cannot fix prices with money that has no value. Markets went underground, and the black market grew. People learned the hard way that no law could save a worthless coin. Eventually, Rome abandoned the denarius entirely. In 312 AD, Constantine introduced the gold solidus. This system lasted for centuries in the Eastern Roman Empire, but the West was already crumbling. By then, trust, Rome's true capital, had completely disappeared. Money collapsed, the army collapsed, trade collapsed. The fall of Rome was not a single event. It was a slow, painful unraveling, and at the very center of it was the collapse of money itself. So what does this have to do with us? Everything. Because when money collapses, empires collapse. Rome thought it could deceive its people. Coins that looked the same, but were hollow inside. Today's world plays the same game under a new name: printing money. The more paper is printed, the less value it holds. History always ends the same way. The people pay, wealth disappears, and trust is destroyed. 1,000 years after Rome, the same story repeated in Germany. After World War I, the Weimar Republic printed money to pay its debts. The result? By 1923, the price of bread rose from 1 mark to 200 billion marks. People carried their wages home in wheelbarrows. Retirees starved to death. And this economic ruin paved the way for the rise of someone like Hitler. In the 2000s, Zimbabwe followed the same path. The government printed money to hide the decline in production. Inflation reached such a point that prices doubled every single day. Imagine this: what you buy for $1,000 today costs $2,000 tomorrow. How would you react? Eventually, they had to abandon their currency entirely. Those who say that can't happen again are wrong. In 1971, U.S. President Nixon completely detached the dollar from gold. Since that day, the dollar has survived not on value, but on belief. But belief is far more fragile than metal. Today, the global economy runs on trillions of dollars of debt. The whole system is built on trust, and once that breaks, nothing remains the same. There are 3 lessons to learn from history. 1. Inflation doesn't happen by accident. It's a deliberate policy. 2. Real wealth isn't found in paper. It's in assets that hold value: land, skills, production, knowledge. 3. No system lasts forever. Romans also said, "We will never fall." When money loses its reality and value, society collapses too. Contracts fail, trade stops, armies disband, and the state loses legitimacy. By the time the barbarians reach the gates, it's already too late, because the real collapse began in the treasury. And of course, the loss of trust must not be forgotten. Rome's currency crisis isn't just history, it's a warning, because those in power make the same mistake in every era. They think they can manipulate money with tricks. But history has proven again and again, whoever corrupts money prepares their own end. If this video made you see the world differently, don't forget to subscribe, because history always hides an answer. You just have to know where to look.